हमारा कहाँ है? इसको करो, यहाँ पे करो, वीडियो करो। आना पड़ेगा देखो मेरे पास। देखो ना,
आजा, ये तो आप
आपका भी बैठ। इसमें आरसी दिखा है, प्यारा रहा।
हाँ हाँ अभी कर हाँ. Good afternoon. I hope many students. I am looking like Kanchan Tiwari, Rahmat
Yes,
Mishra.
ma'am.
Rahmat Mishra ji, you are in the class. Your voice is not clear. Nilesh Mishra. Yeah. So should we wait for more students to join? इसमें ना बेटे इसका एग्जामिनेशन पेपर निकालते क्या साथ में जो वो मैं भूल गई थी Anyone else to join or I should start?
Please start, ma'am.
Okay.
Please start, ma'am.
Okay. Dear students, we are going to take your classes. Just hold on. नहीं बेटा एक मिनट just hold just wait a minute एक मिनट all the students participating now in this interactive session. I hope you all are students of PGDPSM, and in this program, the course code which I will be taking up with you is MVE 001. So MVE 001. Just a minute. It has to be first slide. Uh, Not this one. This one. Let's click this. In MVE 001, we have 13 units, and the MVE 001 is Introduction to Anatomy, Physiology, and Pharmaceutical Chemistry. So before we go for any pharmaceutical line, we are supposed to understand what is the anatomy of the human body, and then the physiology, what are the functions of those. The first unit is cellular studies of human tissues and organ systems. The unit 1 focus. I'll try my best to take up unit 1 and unit 2 with you, which is the unit 1 is unit 1 is cellular studies of human tissues and organ systems. If you see the objectives which I have displayed on the slide, is it all the slides are visible to all of you? We will be starting this unit with the cells and the cell structures, the components of the cells and the activities of cells. We'll be taking up the tissues which are of different types in our system: epithelial, muscular, nervous tissues, connective tissues. And today we will be covering the two systems. Before I start anything, I'll tell you why we are starting with this. Any human body, the smallest unit is a cell. And on an average, if you see the slide, the human body has 10 raised to the 14 power 14 cells, and those all cells are composed of cell membrane which is a thin protective layer of the cell, the cytoplasm, which is means cell. If you take it, they have different shapes, but what this is, that it has a cell membrane which protects the cell, and inside that cell membrane there is a cytoplasm. If you could see the diagram which I am trying to show you, it is a fluid of the cell in which the different structures. No, first slide before this. Yes, this we have to increase. No, it has to go. Yeah. If you see the diagram, you can see the fluid in it. The outer is the cell membrane, and the fluid in which is cytoplasm, and inside the cytoplasm there are different organelles, and organelles like nucleus, chromatin network, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, lysosomes, Golgi bodies, and centromes, ribosomes. These all are suspended in cytoplasm. So this is what in this picture we have tried to show you. If you see the down part, it is shown is a section, means there are the two same diagrams. One is cross sectional and one is transverse sections, which shows the various organelles lying in the cytoplasm. So let us take these cell components, or the bodies which are the cell is all the cells are composed of. Let's take first the cell membrane. What is this cell membrane? This cell membrane is also called the plasma membrane. It is an outer protective layer of the cell which encloses the cytoplasm. It is roughly 10 millimicrometer thick, and this membrane separates the cell's internal environment from the outside environment. And what does it do? It goes for a selective, it is a selective barrier, means it allowed to flow of certain materials into in the cell and outside the cell, and preventing others, which are which shows that it's very, very selective. So the plasma membrane, what is this basically plasma membrane made of? It can be explained. There is a fluid mosaic metal, and this plasma membranes have lipids in it. Lipids are fats. The basic fibrillum of the plasma membrane is composed of a lipid bilayer consisting of two back-to-back layers formed of three types of lipid molecules. Means they are two, but they are attached to each other. Means back-to-back means one's front, other's back, and other front is out. So, what are the lipid molecules which are present in it are phospholipids, which forms 75% of the total plasma membrane. Then smaller amount of the cholesterol group that constitute 20% of the membrane lipid, and some glycolipids which are 5% of the membrane. So the membrane is made up of these two layers back to back of these lipids. Then you will see, and these lipid layers basically functions as a barrier or to entry or to exit of the charged or the polar substances. Some of the proteins present in the plasma membrane, they act as a gatekeepers and regulate the passage of the polar molecules and ions into and out of the cell. This is what I have discussed about the cell membrane. Now let us take the cytoplasm. That is the liquid or the fluid part. The cytoplasm is inside the cell membrane, and 90% of this uh, is mainly of the water. And the most important vital reactions, metabolism, means digestion of the food, the material which the cells absorb, that takes place in the cytoplasm. And the cytoplasm is divided into two components: systole, which is the fluid portion of the cytoplasm and consists mainly of water plus dissolved solutes and some suspended particles. This is the liquid fluid part. But as I already told you, the cytoplasm also have the organelles, which are highly organized structures. The examples we have given of those organelles earlier too. So this is what the description is of the cytoplasm, the cell membrane or the plasma membrane inside which there is a cytoplasm. Now let us discuss the organelles one by one which are present into it. The Herculean reappear in political science in 12th in April. यहाँ कुछ तो यहाँ डालोगी and BA क्या लिखती है reappear in political science on और April 21 कोई डेट होगा यहाँ in April 21 full stop and कटेगा she cleared her BA in इतना with roll number. ऐसे थोड़ी है and इसे तो लुक रहा कि reappear है political science में, गलत है. So let us see the organelles which are present into the cytoplasm. The first of all is the nucleus. It is the important structure of the living cell. Very important is this nucleus. You will see, because it governs all the activities. And nucleus itself has its own membrane, which is called nuclear membrane. It inside this nuclear membrane, it has a nuclear fluid which is called the nucleoplasm, in which are contained, and inside this nucleoplasm means nucleus, outer membrane, and then nucleoplasm. In the nucleoplasm there are chromatin. You all understand that is the hereditary material which you take up from your parents or from your ancestors. This is that material chromatin which has the hereditary material DNA, which is combined with the proteins called histones. This chromatin is in the thread form, and you all, I hope everyone knows, in human cell it has 46 chromosomes, and these in the sperms there are half of it, 23, and half of the chromosomes are in the ova. When there is when the sperm and the eggs they unite, and then it becomes 46 chromosomes. So this is the nucleus which contains all this chromosomes, chromatin, or which are called chromosomes, which has the hereditary material deoxy DNA. The second organelle which is present in it is endoplasmic reticulum. It is an intricate system of membranes that divides the cell into the many different compartments. It is of two types, that is smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth, we in the short form we call them as ER also. So this smooth ER is concerned with the metabolism and synthesis of the steroids and glycogen, and the ref ER it is called the rough due to the presence of some ribosomes which are involved in the protein synthesis. Similarly, there are some in cytoplasm. You have studied now nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum. Third is the secretory granules. They store the secretory products of the cell. Then there are centrosomes. All the cells have centrosomes which consist of tiny cylindrical structures. Of course, these all are, and they are just near the nucleus, enveloped, and the centrioles are important. These structures are important when the cell division has to take place. You have to see in the very beginning, I have shown you all these structures, the cross section and the transverse sections. Similarly, the another organelles which are present are lysosomes. They are the suicide bags of the cell. Why they are called the suicide? Because they have powerful hydrolytic enzymes. At the time of the death of the cell, the lysosomes they ruptures, and these lysosomes they produce the enzymes which results in the self digestion or autolysis of the cell. So that's why they are called the suicide bags. Then comes the mitochondria. So, mitochondria, we all know, they are the powerhouses or the energy houses of the cell. They are involved in the generation of the energy molecules. What are these energy molecules? They are ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and this ATP is used for various energy dependent processes of the cell. Then comes the Golgi complexes. They are 30 to 20 flattened membranous sacs with the bulging edges called the cisterns and resemble, they are the stacks basically, and they have a cup-like shape. Golgi complex is more extensive in cells that secrete proteins into the extracellular fluid. Almost all proteins secreted by the cells are glycoproteins. The main function of the Golgi body is to add a carbohydrate group to the proteins, which are, as I told you earlier, these proteins are manufactured by the rough ER. And then these are being taken up on the stack, and slowly they come at the top of the stack, and these vessels they pass through the cytoplasm and fuse with the cell membrane, then they are discharged outsides. So what are the various activities of the cells? What do these cells usually do? The cells have they called as irritability. They have the ability to detect and respond to the environmental changes. They are the activity of the cells is nutrition. Cells are capable of selectively absorbing fluids, dissolves dissolve through the cell membranes, which can be used by the cell for the energy growth or repair. If you are talking about a single cell, the body has innumerous cells, because they, I will take you next time what they form the tissues. But what a single cell can is able to do is, these are the activity of a single cell which I am talking to you. So every cell has irritability. They can have the nutrition part. They can go for the respirations. They have the ability, means they can respire and in result produce energy by combining oxygen with the nutrients. As a result of this respiration, carbon dioxide and the water is there, which are ultimately excreted out of the membrane. Is the cells able to discard the waste materials to the cell membranes? They have the ability to increase in size. You all understand. They can go for, they can reproduce, and they can, so they can grow. They add to the growth. So these are the concept. What are the different organelles? What we are going to learn in the first unit is that first we have understood that what is a cell. What are the different organelles present in the cell? What are the components of the cell? What is the capability of a cell? Then let us now study that a single cell we are talking about. When these cells, the similar origin, similar structure, and have function, they just join together. They are collected, and then they form the word we use is tissue. In this chapter, we will study about the tissues. First, we have studied about the cell. Then we will understand what is tissue, and then how these tissues together they constitute different systems operating in our body. So I just told you tissue is a collection of cells having similar origin, structure, and function. So a number of cells in the body carry out a particular type of work and form a particular type of a tissue. There are various types of tissues in the human body. The shape of the nucleus of the cell usually corresponds to the cell form or the shape and help to identify type of the tissues. So what are the basic cell tissues? What are the type of those tissues are? We will talk about the four types, that is called epithelial, muscular, nervous, and connective. So let's talk about first tissue, means group of those cells which form this epithelium tissues. What is this epithelium generally provides? What is this epithelium tissue? You can't see the students around more. How we'll see? Yeah, this is how we can see about it. So that I can see. Anyone who has an idea about this epithelium tissue? Okay. What is this epithelium tissue? I have talked to you that we will be discussing four type of tissues. So epithelium generally provides, otherwise it will be slowing. So yeah, epithelium generally provides a covering of the tissue, covering to the tissues. It covers the body surface as you have a skin. But it lines the body cavities also. The epithelial helps in the protection, absorption, excretion, and secretion of various substances. The histological features common to all epithelial tissues, what is that common is epithelial tissue consists of cells that are situated very close to each other. Several type of all epithelial tissues except the endocrine glands have one free surface called the apical surface, which is exposed at the body surface or at the lumen space of the human body cavity. Your body, through which you will see the digestive system, you will see different system. There is a body cavity, there is a duct, there is a tube or a vessel. So they cover them, they have a free surface, which is called apical surface or which is exposed at the body surface or the lumens, the space of the body cavity. The lower surface of the epithelium rests on the basement membrane, which is a non-living adhesive material secreted by the epithelium and the underlying connective tissue. That's why, because of that secretions, they are it is rest on the basement. There are no blood vessels within the epithelial layer. Epithelial cells are often characterized by frequent cell division because they are exposed to the more wear and tear, injury, and it needs a replacement. So you can see the epithelial tissue is uh, is divided. It is also of two types, dividing depending upon their functions. These are, one is the glandular epithelium, which makes up the glands in the body, and the second is the covering and lining epithelium, which forms the continuous layer over the free surfaces of the body. I will make you understand afterward what are the glands, what type of the glands our human body has. The classification of epithelium is on the basis of their cell types. The epithelium tissues are classified according to the shape of the cell, forming the tissues into three types. One is the squamous, cuboidal, columnar epithelium. So these are the just they are classified according to their shapes. Earlier, which I told you, glandular and covering and lining epithelium, that is depending upon their function. So shape, you can understand that they have on the basis the epithelium is also classified on the basis of the number of cell layers into cell layers, and one is the simple epithelium and one is the stratified epithelium. So these are just a small information about the epithelium. As well as soon as we will be going to the systems, we will take them further. So now you have epithelium tissue. Second is your muscular tissue. Muscular tissue, as the name says, the muscle tissue is excitable tissue of the body and processes, of course, is a muscle. So it possesses the contractile ability. Hence, it is called also called contractile tissue. So the muscle tissue you all are seeing is composed of the muscle cells, and which are called the muscle fibers. Within the cell are myofibrils, and they have uh, that contain the means they are composed of the proteins actin and myosin, and they form the contractile film and move. So these muscle tissue is to produce force and cause motion. Muscles can cause either locomotion of the organism itself or the movement of some internal organism. You all understand, some movements are going, involuntary movements are going, means without your permission, involuntary are going inside your body, and some of the motions you are taking yourself, that is voluntary. If you want to walk, you will stand, start walking. So these are they help you. Some are the locomotion, another the movement of the internal organs. So these are classified skeletal, smooth muscles, and cardiac. These are the muscles classification I'm telling you. Skeletal muscles are so called because they are usually attached to the bones. Skeleton means your skeletal system, means consisting of the different bones. So these are the skeletal muscles are because they are usually attached to the bones, and these muscles are under conscious control, means they are they are voluntary. If you want to do use, you will use it. If you want to lift your leg, the muscles of the leg will help you to lift them up. So this is a simple example. So the muscles are under conscious control, therefore they are known as the voluntary skeletal muscle. So fibers of skeletal muscles are long, cylindrical, and unbranched. These muscle fibers also show distinct striations, due to which they are called striated muscles. Smooth muscles Or they are involuntary muscles. Muscle tissue consisting of small, unbranched, low, narrow, spindle-shaped cells. These cells are arranged parallel to one another and do not show striations. Hence, this type of muscles is also called smooth muscles. These type of muscles are involuntary, as I already told you, because it acts to contract, relax without being under your conscious control. Cardiac muscles are unique. They show the features which are some features common to both skeletal and smooth muscles. They are, as the cardiac word you can understand, these muscles, they make up the wall of the heart. That's why. And so this cardiac muscles are similar, as I told you, to skeletal muscle, as its cells are striated and multinucleated. It is similar to smooth muscle, in which the nuclei are centrally located and many cells are required to span the length of the muscle. So you can understand this is the common feature into them, but they differ from the skeletal as well as smooth muscles at its cells branched and is joined to one another by some I'll show you the diagram. Show this one, this slide. Yeah, you are seeing that we are showing that this is skeletal, this is smooth, and this is cardiac muscle. You are seeing this in this diagram, that these muscles, they are joined together by intercalated discs, and these intercalated discs allow communication between the cells, due to which there is a sequential contraction of the cells from bottom of the heart, which is considered to be the ventricles, to the top, facilitating maximum ejection of the blood from the ventricles during contraction. So, as I told you, because they are in the heart, these are the cardiac muscles. Earlier, this category was not there. They were only skeletal and smooth muscles. But later on, it was thought that no, there is a third one, that is cardiac muscles also. I have shown you in the diagram how they're looking. So you have just seen the smooth muscles, they don't have any striations, while in skeletal muscles, they have they are called the striated, there are straights in it. Let's do the third type of tissue, is the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue, nervous tissue is also an excitable tissue, but it lacks contractile power. Because you have listened, you have learned just now the muscular tissue, because they have a contractile power, but nervous tissue is they lacks contractile power. The function of the nervous tissue is to communicate between the various parts of the body. For this purpose, they just receive the message and then they transmit the message. It is composed of the nerve cells, which are also called neurons, and which transmits the impulses. There is some cells which are called neuroglia, which assist in the propagation of the nerve impulse, as well as provide nutrients to the neuron. All nervous tissues of organism is made up of nervous system, which includes what is basically these tissues found. It is in the nervous system, which is, what is that nervous system? Brain, spinal cord, and the nerves throughout the organisms, which we will take in unit 2 in better explanation of the nervous system. The neurons of the nerve cell fiber are easily stimulated and transmit impulse very rapidly. And a single nerve is made up of many nerve fibers bound each other by connective tissue. And there is a sheath of connective tissue which covers which covers these fibers. These are the, which is called epineurium. There are many injections, if you will study, that they are given in the spine, epineural injections. So it is this connective tissue layer, epineurium. The blood vessels of various size of It has the various blood vessels into it, and there's a loose connective tissue here. So these are basically, it is the sheath of dense connective tissue, which covers the nerves, which surrounds the nerve. So you can see, but in, if you talk about the neuron, I may take, because it is the, I've talked about you that the basic thing which is composed of nervous system is neurons, which is the basic fundamental or unit of any nervous system. So all neurons have the basic, same basic structure. All they can vary in size and shape within the nervous system. The basic structure of the neuron consists of basically first the cell body, and then dendrites, and then axon. This is the basic structure of any neuron. So what is this cell body? The neuron, I'll show you the diagram. Show us the next slide. It will have a diagram. Let me see. Yeah, you will understand better. I'll speak and you will see this diagram. Take it a bit up. You just see there is a cell body. Neuron consists of a large cell body, which is also called pericryon or soma. It contains a nucleus. You are looking in the diagram. It also has a cytoplasm, which is cytoplasm called pericryon. So clusters of the ribosome and rough endoplasmic reticulum called the Nissl body are also present in the cell body. The Nissl body, which you are seeing, the basic central part. This इसमें तो दिखेगा नहीं ना. The central part is the new cell, and you just see the branches coming out of the cells. What are these? These are the protoplasmic projections. Means there is an, inside this cell there is a protoplasm, and these are the extension protoplasmic projections that arise as numerous short projections from the nerve cell body. So the, what are the use of this? They are the receptor area of the neuron, and so receive the information which they want to transmit into another neuron. So thus dendrites transmit information towards the nerve cell body, and the dendrites are and there is no sheath around it. So you just see there is a projection of the protoplasm, and this is the dendrites. Here these, they have the receptive area, like your hand touches some hot thing. When your hand touches a hot thing, the neurons, dendrites, they will receive the heat, and then they will transmit to the cell. Now from cell it has to pass on, and then you are seeing there is a huge long this body afterwards. It is called axon. Axon is a long, it is also a protoplasmic process which stretches, earlier are the dendrites, and it is also, it extends from the cell to, from the cell body to a distance ranging in some for few millimeters up to 1 meter, millimeters to 1 meter. That is the length of the axon. The part of the axon where it emerges from the soma is called axon hillock. If you are just you have seen the axon in the diagram. Because through this axon the nerve signals away from these are being transmitted from one nerve cell body towards the other nerves, other than to another muscles or glands. Neurons usually have only one axon, but the axons are sheeted in a multi-layer. There is a sheath behind the axon. Yes. How you have done it? This is, yes, and this has a sheet. This is a mammalian sheet. The greater the amount of mammalian around the axon, the faster is the rate of the nerve impulse transmission. So you are just seeing the gaps occur between the mammalian sheath and occurs in the mammalian sheath and are called the nodes of Renwire. You have seen the mammalian sheath. This is the mammalian sheath. So mammalian sheath, there are some gaps which are called nodes of Renwire. And the terminal end of the axon away from the cell body is called the axon terminal. And with this and this will be associated with another. From here it will associate with another cell body and in a synapse. So you are seeing this is the basic structure of the neuron, and every neuron, and this is common in all this is a unit of the nervous system. Let's go to the fourth type of tissue, that is connective tissue. Connective tissue is what? Connective tissue is to support the body and to bind or connect together all other tissues. The connective tissue provides the mechanical framework which plays an important role in locomotion. You will find that connective tissue exists in number of forms. However, all types of every connective tissue has the three basic structural elements. One is the cell, another is the one is the cell, other is the fibers, non-cellular fibers. Third is the non-cellular intercellular matrix. And the types of the fibers that occur in the connective tissue are collagen, elastic fibers, reticular fibers. What are these collagen fibers? Collagen fibers are for the strength. Elastic ones are for the elasticity. And reticular fibers are for forming delicate structural framework. You will see there is, I have just told you non-cellular fibers. Now, what about the non-cellular intercellular substance? Substance means that is a matrix or a ground tissue. So, matrix is very much variable in connective tissue. It can be gelatin-like, or it can be rigid, or it may be a liquid, and it can be semi-solid. I will, when I will tell you, then you will understand connective tissues. What are the variety of connective tissues which are present in our body? So first of all, we will understand that what is this. It is divided that it can be a loose connective tissue or a dense connective tissue. So it can be, then we will tell you the types. What are the other types of these connective tissues? So loose connective tissue is in which the abundant cells are there. They are loosely arranged fibers, and there is a gelatinous ground substance. So loose connective tissue is most common type of connective tissue, and where it occurs beneath the epithelium in the skin. I've told you epithelium cover is the outermost surface, and it is beneath the epithelium, and it skin and it is in many internal organs such as lungs, arteries, urinary bladder. These type of tissues forms a protective layer over muscles, nerves, blood vessels. The loose connective tissue is further classified into areolar tissue, adipose tissue, reticular tissue. So, what is that? Yeah, yeah. This is next one, next one, next one. Yeah. Areolar tissue, areolar connective tissue is that which holds organs and epithelium in place. They are the supportive one and consist of matrix within which lies two kinds of proteinaceous fibers. One is white, another is yellow. So these are so the space within the network is occupied by a matrix and various types of cells which are called fibroblasts, basophils, plasma cells, pigment cells. They exist there. So this is the tissue which holds the organ and epithelium. What is an adipose tissue? Adipose is fairly a loose connective tissue. All the three are loose connective tissue, but it contains large number of round shaped fat storing cells called adipocytes, which forms 90% of the tissue. An adipose tissue may be developed anywhere. It accumulates the fat beneath the skin, and basically they act as a shock absorbers. You must be observing that the women tend to have more adipose tissues than the men. There are two types of adipose tissues also. One is the white fat cells, and another the brown fat cells. So there are the third type of the loose connective tissue is the reticular tissue. In this, it consists of loosely arranged, branching, very thin, white reticular collagen fibers with the glycogen coatings present in a gelatinous ground substance. Reticular tissues provide a delicate structural framework for organs like bone marrow, lymph nodes, spleen. आगे से गर्म पानी रखो हो सकता है dense
Excuse me, ma'am.
yeah
When the screen is hang, we can see the only the nervous system on the screen. Neuron structure is there.
okay let me see
Yeah.
let me this is which one you are able to now it's now dense connective tissue I'm
Yeah.
taking this dense connective tissue now it's visible.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, dense. It is a dense connective tissue. Is basically dense fibrous tissue. It has collagen fibers at its main matrix element because they are not now the cells are not loosely arranged or loosely arranged fibers are there. So they have these. They have the collagen fibers in its main matrix. Dense connective tissues contain means they have a few cells with much greater number of the fibers and so they also are a type of dense irregular connective tissue, dense regular connective tissue, and elastic. So this name suggests that how these they function, how the collagen fibers are arranged. Are they randomly oriented, or they are closely packed, or they are parallel bundles, or depending upon them, their sizes are there. So if you see the connective tissue I'm talking about, this connective tissue are loose and dense, but you must be knowing your body has a cartilage. This is a connective tissue. You have bone. It is a connective tissue. So let me first take cartilage. The cartilage and the bone, they are the rigid connective tissues. Cartilage, however, though tough and hard, but it is softer than bone. What is a cartilage is a flexible and there is no blood vessel into it, means avascular and without nerves also. So cartilage contains large quantity of clear firm jelly like ground fluid matrix and and the dense and elastic nature matrix of dense and elastic nature in which living the cartilage cells, there is a cartilage cells which are embedded into it, and these cartilage cells are called uh, chondroblasts. Uh, and the cartilage connective tissue is further divided into the three types: hyaline, fibrous, and elastic. Hyaline cartilage consists of a rubbery matrix as the ground substance and living cartilage cells called chondrocyte, which are situated far apart in a fluid-filled spaces called lacuna. This I will see there is a diagram. No, we don't have the diagram for yes that I could not take out. Yes, this is so the matrix contains a number of collagen fibers. Hyaline cartilage is basically found in the bones, ribs, long bones. While the fibrous cartilage, it contains cells which are larger in number, arranged in groups, placed inside lacuna. So it is tougher than hyaline cartilage because the collagen fibers present are more. And third is the elastic cartilage. it is also, but it also contains the collagen fibers, but in the matrix, but also have abundant network of branched elastic fibers. This type of cartilage consists of the cells in lacuna. So these are the type of the cartilage. The basic concept is that the cartilage is also a connective tissue. Bone, as I told just now, the bone, both are the tough, they are the rigid connective tissues. Bone is hard and rigid tissue and is the hardest among the all connective tissues. If you see the whole skeletal system of the human body, adult, it is virtually made of the bones, and the bones has a large amount of the ground matrix in which there are the living cells which are called osteoblast, osteoclast, osteocytes are present. The the matrix is also have inorganic salts of calcium, organic solids like ocean, water, and small amount of sodium and magnesium are also found in it. In addition to this, the matrix contains numerous collagen fibers and a large amount of water, and there are of two types. Basically, we have two types of bones: compact bones and the spongy bones. Long bones come under the category of the compact bones, and the spongy bones are present in the flat bones, ends of the long bones, and the body of the vertebra. So they are present, and this is the way they are. Yes, this is the. We will be reading about the compact bone structure. So we will be seeing this diagram. The compact and spongy bones differ due to the manner in which the living bone cells and the matrix are arranged, resulting into the different patterns. So I just told you the how where they are formed. Let us see the compact. You are just seeing the compact bone tissue diagram of that. The compact bone tissue consists of precise arrangement of, there is a cylindrical structures you are seeing. They are called osteons. The matrix and the osteons, osteocytes of osteon are laid down in a concentric rings around a central canal, and this through this central canal, this is called Volkmann canal. It contains the blood vessels, and these you are just seeing the osteons and the, if you, this is you can see that these are the compact bone structures. And now I take you to the spongy bone part. In contrast to the compact bone tissues, spongy consist of irregular lattice. You could just go take it, it's a niche, or this is a diagram of the spongy bone tissue. Bone consists of irregular lattice uh, of thin blades of bones. You just see the irregular lattice work of thin blades of bones. These are called the, this hole is called the trabuli. The spaces between the trabuli contain blood vessels and the bone marrow which produces blood cells. The bone marrow may be red or yellow in color depending on the amount of the fat cells. So these are the spongy bone parts. You see the spaces between the trabuli be seen with the naked and give the spongy bone tissue as it looks like a spongy one. This irregular lacunae, basically they have the blood vessels. As you are seeing the cavities, they have the, while in earlier compact one you have the canals through which the blood vessels also pass in the bone structure. So I will the last which I'll be taking up, the last connective tissue which I will be dealing with you is the blood. Even the blood is a connective tissue which is consists of cells separated by a liquid, and this liquid is nothing but a plasma matrix. Blood is a sticky fluid and is a sticky fluid connective tissue with a slightly salty taste. It is a fluid present almost, it is, it is present everywhere and distributed by means of blood vessels. The blood vessels which carries the impure and pure bloods, arteries, veins, arterioles, venules, capillaries. The color of the blood is red. It flows through the arteries, and when it flows in the veins, it is like a purple color or dark red. It is something alkaline. The plasma of this blood is watery fluid and transport the dissolved glucose, waste, carbon dioxide, and hormones. The plasma present in the blood also regulates the water balance of the blood cells. Several types of cells are present in the plasma, which is the matrix part, the constitution, the composition of the blood. You could have now understood. One part, the fluid part, is the plasma, which constitute 55% of the blood, and inside that suspended there are solid components of the cells, and these make up the 45% of the blood. So blood cells are 45%, plasma is 55%. The plasma is composed of water. The plasma is composed of water, that is 90 to 90, almost 90 to 92%. And there are solids in the plasma, that is 8 to 10%. The solids are electrolytes, plasma proteins, fats, hormones, coloring substances, bile pigments. The important plasma proteins which are present are serum albumin, serum globin, serum fibrinogen. Serum albumin and fibrinogen are derived from the liver, whereas the serum globulins are derived from the lymphocytes. So these are the things which are available in the plasma. And the blood cells, you all know there are white blood cells, red blood cells, granulates, platelets. So these are the cells. So let's take up the white blood cells first. The white blood corpuscles, or the white blood cells, or WBCs, or we can name this as a leukocytes. These cells, unlike RBCs, they are actually they are nucleated and they do not carry the oxygen carrying pigment called hemoglobin. So WBC function is then what? It is the immune system. The total WBC count of the blood in human is 4,000 to 11,000 millimeters, cubic millimeter. So you have now seen these WBCs, and there are these WBCs on the presence of granules in the cytoplasm. They are divided further: agranulated or agranulocytes or granulocytes. So agranulocytes are absence of the granules in the cytoplasm. There are of two types: agranulocytes, lymphocytes, and monocytes. So a granulocyte and the granulocytes, they are the white blood cells that are characterized by presence of granules in their cytoplasms. They are also called polymorphonuclear leukocytes because of varying size of nucleus, which is usually lobed into three segments. So granulocytes are further divided, as you would have seen the reports: the neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils. So WBC in the body basically act like a first line of defense against any invasion of microbes. The cell engulfs the invading organisms through the process of the how they help you through the process of the phagocytosis, and so they destroy them. If I take now the red blood cells, the red blood cells are also called erythrocytes. The human red blood corpuscles are circular. They are biconcave, they are disc shaped, they don't have the nucleus, and but they contain the oxygen carrying pigment hemoglobin. The normal RBC count is 5 million per cubic millimeter of the blood in adult and 4.5 million per cubic in the adult females. So, in function of RBCs is basically to transport the oxygen and carbon dioxide, maintenance of viscosity of blood, maintenance of acid base balance since the hemoglobin, इसका थ्रेड भी बनाना पड़ेगा गोल वाले का लंबे का. Since the hemoglobin is a part of RBC, acts as a buffering agent. Means they keep the balance of the acid and base. The third is the type of platelets. So platelets are the small, they are also the small cytoplasmic bodies derived from the cells. The placements are the cell fragments that function in their function is in the blood clotting. The platelets are round oval, they don't have nucleus, and they are of various size. Their platelets, they circulate in the blood. They are 1/4 the size of the RBCs. So in normal adult, the platelets are roughly 2,50,000 to 5 lakh per cubic millimeter. They are required for the process of initiation of blood clot formation, their repair of the capillary leaks, the clot retractions. So these are the cells. The connective tissue is blood having these cells. What are the general functions of this blood? We all understand they perform the various function. Blood transports oxygen by means of red blood corpuscles from lungs to the tissues and transport carbon dioxide from tissues back to the lung. It transports nutrients from the digestive system to various tissues of the body. Blood acts as a vehicle for the movement of hormones, vitamins, pigments from the source to the various bodies. It maintains the fluid, electrolyte, acid base body, as I told you just now. It regulates the body temperature. It helps in excretion through urine of the waste products that from the cells. The white corpuscles, they help to the body's defense mechanism. There is one is the blood, another is the lymph. Lymph is a connective tissue again. It is a modified fluid tissue containing 94% of water and 6% of the solids. And it differs from the blood in the fact that only lymphocytes, 5,000 to 75,000 per cubic millimeter they are present in the white blood cells are present in it, and the red blood cells are absent in this lymph. Lymph is the similar in composition to the blood plasma with various type of white blood cells floating in it, but there is another parallel system that is called lymphatic system. In the lymphatic vessels, the lymph flow. So, dear students, we have finished the structure of the cell, the organelles of the cell, the cells, they together form the tissues. Now, the different tissues which are performing the same type, they have the same structure, they perform the same function, they form the systems, organ systems. So, now we will be reading in the unit 1 and unit 2 the different systems, what is the anatomy and the physiology of the various body systems. So in this unit, I'll be taking up the two systems, circulatory system and the skeletal system. So first is the circulatory system, and the circulatory system, you all understand, is a closed, it is a transport system responsible for the transport of the nutrients, gases, waste material through the body by means of blood. As I just told you, blood is a connective tissue, flows within the closed system of vessels, arteries, veins, capillaries. So So and the body, the transports through the blood, which is the every human body have approximately 5 to 6 liters of blood. The important components, now what the circular system consists of, comprises of, that is the heart and the blood vessels, and that blood vessels are the arteries and the veins. So let us first see first the heart. Anyone who wants to, okay, let me ask you this question. Heart is a muscular organ, everybody knows, and it lies in the upper left part of the chest, and it pumps blood through the blood vessels. The regular contractions of the heart, or when the heart pushes in, forces the blood into various parts of the body. In normal heart, basically, you always show it is in the left. It is under the sternum. That is also called the breastbone. And there are three layers: the outer, tough, fibrous layer of the heart, that is called pericardium, that forms a bag like structure around the heart. ये क्या कर रहे हैं? And contains a fluid called the pericardial fluid. And the middle layer of the myocardium consists of muscular contractile fibers. I have told you, I have taught you just now, they are muscle tissues, so they are present here. And the innermost layer is called endocardium. So these are the three layers outside the normal heart. What is the internal structure of the heart? It consists of the four chambers. There are two atriums. Atriums means one is the right atrium, another is the left atrium. Two ventricles, right or left. The walls of the atriums are thin and they serve as a filling station reservoirs, in which the blood is pushed into. From there it is pushed into the ventricles. While the ventricles, they have a thick wall, because they pushes the blood either into the pulmonary circulation or the systemic circulations. I will make you understand. The muscle wall surrounding the left ventricle, I just told you, is thicker than the atriums. So there are two systems which are prevailing in our body, through which the blood is being pumped out. The right atrium and the right ventricle of the heart, you just see just now, yes. The right atrium and the right ventricle of the heart receives the deoxygenated blood, means there is no oxygen in it, from the various parts of the body. This deoxygenated blood going to the heart is carried in veins. As I told you, arteries, they carry the pure blood, the veins, they carry the impure blood, means deoxygenated blood. So this is the deoxygenated blood going to the heart is carried in veins. The blood is carried to the right atrium. Sabse pehle, the blood will come in the right atrium. And the right atrium, that is called, who will bring, you were seeing in the diagram, the blood is being coming in the right atrium through superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. The two vein systems, one is the superior vena cava, inferior vena cava. They will bring the deoxygenated blood into the right atrium. The deoxygenated blood then goes from the right atrium to the right ventricle, and there is a valve. If a diagram is clear to you, there is a valve between the right atrium and right ventricle, and this is called tricuspid valve. Why it is there? This valve allows the blood to flow into only in one direction. It should not go back from the right atrium, from right ventricle to the right atrium. So right ventricle, the blood which is being brought by superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, this right atrium then pumps this blood to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. You are seeing there is a pulmonary artery. Through this, it pumps the blood, and you know it is a deoxygenated blood which has come from right atrium to the right ventricle. And this right ventricle, when they pumps to the pulmonary artery, so this is the only, usually arteries carry oxygenated blood and the veins carry deoxygenated blood. So pulmonary artery is the only artery that carries the deoxygenated blood. Then when the blood goes out of the ventricle, it goes to the pulmonary artery. There is again a valve, semilunar valve in the pulmonary artery, so that blood doesn't come back to the right ventricle. This, and then in this, the from here it goes in the pulmonary artery goes into the lung, and in the lungs the gas exchange takes place as the blood takes up the from lungs. The blood takes up oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide by the process of diffusion. So the blood from the lungs goes to the left atrium. Now the blood is no more deoxygenated, it is oxygenated, because they have exchanged oxygen and they have given carbon dioxide to the lung by the process of respiration. जब आप सांस लेते हैं तो the carbon dioxide will come out. So now the pure blood is there from the lung. This blood from the lung goes to the left atrium through pulmonary vein. So this is the only vein which carries the pure blood, oxygenated blood, which is the only. So this oxygenated blood from the left atrium through the vein, it goes to the left ventricle, and there you must be diagram. So you must see from the left atrium, it goes to the left ventricle, and from between the left atrium and left ventricle, there is a valve called mitral valve. So this is a valve. Earlier I have told you the tricuspid valve that is in the right to the left ventricle. Now there is a mitral valve that is between left atrium and the left ventricle. So in this way you are looking that it allows not the blood to flow in one direction. So this left ventricle then pumps this oxygenated blood through the aortic valve to the various parts of the body by the main artery that is called aorta. You are looking, there is a valve we have tried to show, and there is an aorta you are seeing. This is the main artery through which the blood is being given, to the different parts of the body. The major, this artery you are just seeing, the smaller arteries come out of the which and these different arteries come out of the aorta. They go in different directions. So the blood thus travels in the arteries to the smaller, from this to the arterioles, and these arterioles, they further divide into small capillaries which supply this blood to each cell with oxygenated blood and take away the the deoxygenated blood travels to the venules, which then join together, they form the vein, and then the lower portion forms the inferior vena cava, and the upper portion they forms the superior vena cava, and they bring back the blood to the right atrium. I hope this is it, are you able to understand? Let me have a response. You people may not have slept. Can I understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
are you
Yes,
able to
ma'am.
understand
Yes, ma'am.
that how the blood flows in the body, how this circulatory systems works? So there are two circulatory circuits you must have understood. One is the pulmonary circulation, another is systemic. In pulmonary circulation, short circulatory path in which deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle of the heart travels through the pulmonary artery to the left for deoxygenation. Oxygenated blood return back to the left ventricle by the pulmonary vein. So this is called pulmonary circulation. Two circulatory systems. Another is a systemic circulation. Systemic circulation is concerned with that is a circulation of the oxygenated blood to different tissues of the body, even to the cells of the body through capillaries. In this circle, oxygenated blood comes from the left ventricle through aorta to different tissues. So this is and the deoxygenated blood is brought back to the heart and the inferior vena cava and all. This comes under the systemic circulation. There is earlier it was only considered two, but now they have taken into consideration the coronary circulation also. This circulation of blood is to the heart tissues because you have just talked about that from different parts of the body to the heart, either oxygenated or deoxygenated. But what about the heart? How the blood goes to the heart organ itself? Then they have talked about the coronary circulation. The circulation of blood to the heart tissue, the coronary tissues arise from the base of the aorta and supply that the coronary arteries, they come from the base of the aorta and they supply the blood to the muscle and different layers of the heart. And the deoxygenated blood again come back to the coronary sinuses, and these sinuses they drain the blood back to the right atrium. So this is coronary circulation. So you have just seen we are talking about the conduction system. If you see, now there is the conduction system, the normal heart, this is how the blood is moving, right? So now there is a conduction system. The normal human heart beats continuously due to its own, there is a built-in, as we are born, inherent rhythmic electrical activity. Please, somebody, someone has on their speaker. Please switch off your speaker.
Yes, ma'am.
Please switch off
Hello?
your speakers. Maybe this disturbance is because of that.
मैम आवाज क्लियर नहीं है.
आप अपना स्पीकर बंद कर दीजिए. Yes, this disturbance is due to the fact that somebody has switched on their speakers. Thank you very much. So normal, I was telling this is electrical activity because which the source of the stimulation for beating of the heart is the network of specialized cardiac muscles, as I told you earlier, and they are called autorhythmic cells. And these cells are self-excitable. There is involuntary actions. They generate action potential. They trigger heart contractions. These cells which are present in the heart, which creates the rhythmic voice, the electric activity, they act as these rhythmic cells have two important functions. They act as a pacemaker. Pacemaker means they're setting the rhythm of the whole heart. You learn the loop dub a voice, and this voice is the pace setting of the rhythm of the heart. Second, they form the conduction system, the route of propagating this action potential throughout the heart muscles. The conduction system ensures that the heart chambers, atria, ventricles, they remain stimulated all the time and they keep on pumping the blood. This electric activity for pumping action of the heart, it begins in the pacemaker region of the heart. Pacemakers are capable to do the specific activity. I show you where these pacemakers are. The next diagram, please. Silence, I didn't notice there, but I hope they have not shown anywhere the pacemakers. Have they shown it, the pacemakers? No, position is not clear here. The actual pumping of the heart, it basically, this is the pacemaker cells. They are capable of this spontaneous activity, and this pacemaker cells are very rightly, they are start working in the embryonic type. They are located near the vena cava, enters the right atrium. This is just near the vena cava, which enters the right atrium. This I'm trying, yeah, this is the sinoatrial node. आप लोगों को डायग्राम में दिख रहा है sinoatrial node, SA node. This is also it is called the pacemakers. The contraction separates into the two atriums because here they contract, and this contraction, this spreads in both the right atrium and the left atrium, and after a slight delay to the, you are just looking atrioventricular AV bundle. So basically they contract and separate their contractions to the both the atria. From this it reaches to the tip of the ventricle, and then it separate upwards to squeeze, because they affect the ventricles to squeeze the blood out in the most efficient way. It ensures both ventricle contract simultaneously. First, the atriums they contract, and then the ventricles they contract after a few minutes, after a few seconds. So, two different mechanisms affect the heart rate, nerve impulse to the pacemaker region, and hormonal influences. So, there is different nerves which affect it. So there is a cardiac cycle, which I am just telling you how the pacemaker cells they do it. The contraction of the heart muscle. Whenever your heart contract to push the blood, means contraction of the heart pushes in, and this makes the chambers. As a result, the chambers become small. So you must have gone to the doctor to show your blood pressure. There are two words, systolic and diastolic pressures. So what these are basically the cardiac cycles. The contraction of the heart muscle is called systole. So the contraction of the heart pushes in, and this makes the chamber smaller. This pushes blood out of the heart into the blood vessels. After the heart contracts and pushes in, the muscle relaxes. After that, once you have pushed the blood, then the muscle relax or stop pushing it. The chambers become big, and the blood coming back to the heart and fills it. While this relaxation of heart muscle is called diastole. So this occurs after the heart muscles stop contracting. The diastole of chambers of the heart gets bigger and become filled by the blood coming back from the various part of both atria or do systole together, but ventricles also contract to do systole together. But I just told you, atria contract before the ventricles. Even though the atrial systole occurs before ventricle systole, all the four chambers they relax together at the same time, and it is called cardiac diastole. So these are the systole and diastole words which you hear from them. The circulatory systems, the important parts of the circulatory system are also the type of the blood vessels. So I have just told you there are two type of vessels. One is the arteries, there are veins. The arteries vessels carry blood from the heart to different organs and from the body. The blood in the arteries are always oxygenated except the pulmonary artery. As I told you just now, all arteries are the branches of the main artery, which I have just shown you, that is aorta. The arteries subdivide to form smaller arteries, which are called arterioles. These arterioles further terminate, means they further divide You are just seeing the artery, then arteriole, then again you are seeing the branches. And these are the capillaries, which are thin vessels lined between the cells. The capillaries connect the arteries, and through these capillaries, they connect the arteries to the veins, because they are the duty of the arteries or the arterioles or the capillary is to carry the oxygenated blood to the cells. But the cells, then the carbon dioxide come out of the cells, and these are being taken by the venules. For first of all, they will take, so capillaries, there is a junction of the arteries and the veins. So arteries, the capillaries connect the arteries to the veins, the wall of the art. So from there, the will form the venules, and the venules will form the veins. So arteries consist of three distinct layers, as you are seeing in the cross sectional area. So they have these distinct layers as shown, as I have shown up, endothelium, smooth one, and then connective tissue. Then we talk about the veins. These are also the vessels which carry blood, various parts of the deoxygenated blood, except the pulmonary vein, which carries the oxygenated blood back to the heart after oxygenation from the lungs. Veins are similar to arteries, but because they transport, they see the pressure of the blood in the arteries is higher, but the blood which is going back to the heart, the pressure of the blood is lower. So they are not as strong as arteries. The wall of the veins are similar to those of the arteries, and they are composed of three distinct layers, but they have the middle layer, which is the muscle layer, is not that strong. So as a result, veins have thinner walls and contains less smooth muscles and less elastic tissue than the arteries. Vein receive bloods from the capillaries through venules after the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Venules are microscopic vessels that continue from the capillaries and merge to form the veins. Therefore, veins transport waste-rich blood back to the lungs and heart. It is important that the waste rich blood keeps moving in the direction that is not allowed to flow backwards. This is accomplished by the valves which are present between them. You are just seeing it. So now the word I just told you, blood pressure, comes. It is defined as the lateral pressure exerted by moving columns of the blood on the walls of the blood vessels. So blood pressure can be divided into arterial blood pressure or the venous blood pressure or the capillary blood pressure. The blood pressure is measured always in millimeters of mercury. Systolic blood pressure is in the arterial system refers to the maximum pressure during the systole. Systole, I have just told you, whenever there is a ventricular contraction of the heart, so that is called systole. When the systolic value should always remain mostly in the normal person ranges into 110 to 145 millimeter mercury, while diastolic pressure in the arterial system refers to the minimum pressure exerted during the diastole, means when the ventricles are relaxing. So that ranges between 70 to 19 millimeter Hg in normally. So the difference between the systolic and diastolic blood pressure is called the pulse pressure, and it is normally 40 to 55 millimeter plus mercury. So you have understood the cardiac or circulatory system. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Any
Yes, ma'am.
questions from
Yes,
any
ma'am.
question? Any problems? Should I move to the another system?
Okay, ma'am.
There is another system I would like to cover, that is the skeletal system and the joints. What are these skeletal system? Skeletal system means you all understand the human skeleton is made up of how much bones? Anyone?
206.
Yes, it is 206 bones. So the skeletal system is divided into two parts, that is called the axial skeletal and appendicular skeleton. What is axial skeleton? Axial skeleton serves mainly to protect and support the internal structures of the body and consists of the three main parts. The axial skeletal consists of three. What are those? They are skull. Second is the vertebral column, thoracic cage. What the skull? Skull, you all know, is a large bony structure in which we have a cranium and a facial bones. They are attached to the cranium. The bones are attached to the cranium. And what is the cranium? Cranium is basically a big bony case in which our brain is there. The skull bones consist of one occipital skull bone. You all are seeing in the diagram. The skull bone consists of one occipital. You are in show the skull. ये नहीं skull नीचे हो शायद इसे नीचे करिए हाँ ये है ना occipital है इसमें cranial bones ऊपर हाँ you see the diagram. You just see the diagram so that it is clear. So this cranium is a large bony case that accommodates your brain, and the skull bones consist of one occipital bone. You are just seeing this is the occipital area. Two parietal bones. These are the bones. These are the two parietal bones either side of the brain. One portal bone. It is below. It is called one portal bone, not shown here. Two temporal bones. These are two temporal bones means side. Two means one on this side, one on which we are not able to see. And one ethmoid bone. You are able to see behind. Yes. So all of them are joined to each other through irregular edges. आपस में they are joined because their edges are not regular but irregular, so they just stup into it. They are called the sutures. You have just seen the skull, looking at the skulls, you know. So then there is then we the part of this axial skeleton is the vertebral column. Yes, नीचे चलिए. The vertebral columns form the axis to which other bones of the skeleton are attached. It concerns the skeleton. You just see एक आदमी बना हुआ ना. This is yes, down. You just see the skeleton. This the long the vertebral columns form the axis. On the one side you are just seeing there are one head is there. It consists of series of vertebrae. There are 33 vertebrae. The top 7 vertebrae are called cervical vertebrae. Yeah. And the next 12 of the chest, they are called the thoracic vertebra. Yeah. Okay. And then after that, there are the next lower 5 are called lumbar vertebra. Next lower 5 which are fused together are known as sacrum. And the last portion of the vertebral columns consist of 4 fused vertebrae, and they are called the coccyx. ऊपर होगा यहाँ vertebra. ऊपर ही होगा. So they are vertebra. The skull is attached at the top of the skeleton, and the pelvis girdle. You are just seeing this is a pelvic girdle. hole. This is a pelvic girdle which is joined to the sacrum of the vertebral. They are attached to the sacrum part. So this is the vertebral column. Thoracic cage. The thoracic cage is formed of thoracic vertebra at the back, the sternum or the breastbone in the front, and 12 pairs of the, you are just seeing this one. This is rib cage. This is this. This is the sternum, means this is the breastbone, and under this sternum there is a heart. And these are the 12 pairs of the ribs. And this, they are formed the cage, they are called the thoracic cage. So these are the apex axial skeleton. What is there in the appendicular skeleton? You just see the appendicular skeleton, it is basically for the movement. The appendicular skeleton includes bones that make up the upper and lower limbs, as well as the girdles. Acha, okay. Niche chaliye. Niche again there is a diagram. No, you come down. Not up, down. Aage chaliye. So the appendicular skeleton includes bones that make up the upper and lower limbs, as well as the bones of the girdles and the girdle and pelvic girdles to which the limbs are attached. These girdle attach the limbs to the axial skeleton. The appendicular skeleton is upper bones and lower bones. You see that this is the upper bone. Upper bone means they are composed of shoulder, girdle, and the pair of upper limbs. If you are looking in the picture, the shoulder girdle is formed. You just see. This is the shoulder. It is formed of two bones. One is clavicle, another is scapula. These are the two bones of the shoulder. If you see the collarbone, you call about. These are the bones. And the upper limb. Upper bone. You just see the. Just a minute. You just see this is the upper limb. Upper arm formed of the bone. This is the upper arm. आपकी जो elbow से ऊपर है, above the elbow. This is called humerus. And the forearm. This is forearm. It has two bones, ulna and the radius, which is collectively known as radioulna. Here you have a wrist. Wrist is composed of these bones. They are called carpals. There is a palm. So palm bone is formed by the metacarpal bones, and the fingers are, and these fingers long, your 5 fingers, they have the flanges. So you are, it is shown in, yes, it is shown in the next figure. That's, yes. You can just see it has been clearly shown here. Upper bone. So now comes to the lower bones. The lower bones are composed of the pelvic girdle. You are looking the pelvic girdle. The pelvic girdle, here this is the pelvic girdle, hole. And this is the hole is called the lower limb. So pelvic girdle, the pelvic girdle is composed of the sacrum. You are seeing in the diagram. This is the sacrum, means at the back of the, and coccus. These are the vertebral. I have just talked about the vertebral column. In the back, 2 hip bones on the side. These hip bones join in the front to form the, and this lower limbs, they have the thigh, then the knee patella, then the lower hind limbs, ankle, intermediate region, and the toes. So you must be seeing it. This is the pelvic girdle hole. These are the basically hip joints. At the back, there is the sacrum and where they have attached. So these are basically, and what about the joints composition and the movement? The joint is a region where two or more bones unite. The joints are classified into three types based on the consumption, composition, and degree of movement associated with it. One is the fibrous joint. The connective tissue between the bones is formed of fibrous tissue and hence the bones are not movable. The sutures of the bones are example of the fibrous joints. We have the cartilaginous joints. In this type of joint, the connective tissue is highly in cartilage, so therefore, the joints slightly they are movable, and synovial joints, it's free movable joint where the bones are not directly in contact with each other. They have a cartilage between them. Synovial joints are classified into the pivot joint, ball and socket joint, gliding joint, and hinge joint. You see the in pivot joint, a part of the one of the articulating bone fits into the groove of another. The ball and socket, ball shaped part of one bone articulates in the cavity of another. Example of the ball and socket joints are the hip joint, shoulder joint. Okay? And the sliding joint, the gliding joints, they are the bones slide over each other. Carpal joints of the wrist, tarsal joints of the foot, they come under this category. Hinge joint, the movement is possible only in one plane, that is elbow joint, knee joint. So saddle joint, type of joint allows a great degree of movement between the bones, that is the thumb joint. They come under this category. And there is a ellipsoidal joint. This type of joint, the two bones fit together with a odd shape. This joint, in this joint, one vein is concave, another bone is convex. So in this way, these are the different joints which are available in the skeletal system. So let me see, is there any issues? Because we cannot start another portion. I just want to ask, in this way I tried to tell you about unit 1 and I have finished unit 1. So I will like to share with you that what type of the question paper comes into this. The question paper, usually this comes is of 3 hours, 75 marks. There are 5 questions and all of them, they carry the equal marks. So usually they are descriptive. Like describe geometrical, I will just, there is like describe the type of neurons that form the nervous system. This is an 8 marks question. So in total, there are in the question paper, there are 8 questions, and you have all carry the equal marks. How much? 8 are 15 marks each. 15 and the 5 questions of 15 marks each, and all of them are not any question is not objective type. I'm just giving you an example. Like 5th question, suppose a question is there in front of me. There are 2 parts, A and B. Describe the type of the neurons that form the nervous system. And the B part is another question. So in this way, one question is of 8 marks, another of 7 marks. So the question paper comes in a descriptive way. So this is what I just want to share with you, because before taking any subject, always understand what type of questions are coming in your question paper and what sort of the one is, which I have just told you today, I have taught you. The one question which I'm reading is describe the cell membrane with the help of fluid mosaic model. So fluid mosaic model has been given in this. So that I have talked that the cell membrane is same as the plasma membrane. So you read it, have an idea after seeing the earlier question papers, what type of question papers are coming. Questions are coming in the paper. My dear students, there are 13 units. I could only finish with you unit 1, which is such a large unit having the whole cell structure, tissues, and the organ systems. I have taken 2 organ systems. In sector 2, again, there are organ systems and their philosophy. So what means I have 4 days with you. So I'll be able to finish probably 4 units only in this way. Or so will you like to go like this? Or what do you want? How do you want? You can just see on your screens, and you may be having your books or study material with you all. Can I listen from you now? I'm over with the unit 1 today. I finished it and tried to explain you the way you people can understand. You cannot understand any chemistry pharmaceutical without understanding the human structure first, anatomy first. Anyone, please? These are the various units available for MVE 001. Kanchan, can I see them? Oh, I can see them. Yes, Kanchan Tiwari. Partha, bro. See, Rishu Juneja, Nilesh. Can I means I can go like this, no problem. That is an explanation of everything. So,
Madam, madam, madam.
yes.
Yes, madam. Please tell us, please keep on telling us like what type of questions will be coming and all like along with this.
See, there are the descriptive questions they have come. Today I have taken the cell membrane fluid mosaic model is only there in your syllabus, in your study material. So they have put a question of 8 marks. Describe the cell membrane with the help of fluid mosaic model. So these are the questions today I have taught you about it, and briefly the cardiac cycle and the name of the like they have a different questions. One I can think of the describe the types of the neurons. I'll be taking up the nervous system. So you have to with these sort of these question. Today I have whatever unit I have taken, I'm seeing only the 2 questions for this paper which I am having in my hand is of 2020. So this all are subjective questions. So you have to understand the topic. Only objective, there is none of the objective questions are there. So you have to understand the topic well, and then only you will be able to understand. So do one thing, whatever the unit I have taught you, you should read it at home and see whether you are able to understand and what sort of difficulty you are facing.
Yes, madam.
I can just take a scan copy of this 2020 question. If I have more, I can have, or you can see from the net. You can see from the site, and
Yes,
you can
madam.
just see what sort of the questions are coming.
Yes, madam.
So I will go like this. Should I feel you should understand the first the anatomy, then only you can understand the concept of something else. But this 2 hours is a small time. I'll have 4 days. I have left with the 3 more days now. One day is over. I'll be taking your lectures on 3rd and then 5th and 6th.
Yeah, excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, I think it's all in detail is not needed because it's already given in our study material. So it will be a good idea to like discuss in a brief, so that we can cover all the units.
It
And
is not or
we
you
can
people should keep it. Anna,
yeah, we
there are
will ask the queries. Yeah.
or because you cannot, even you people have not read it at all. So how much you can ask? And randomly asking anything doesn't carry any weight.
Definitely, ma'am.
Important is that you should understand it. You may not be
Right.
from the same background. I don't know from what backgrounds you people are. So that's why I taught you an explanation, because you should understand first the basic part. Fundamental is the cell, then tissue, then organ systems. Then only you can understand what is the physiology of the systems.
Yeah, definitely, ma'am. Today's session was like very beneficial. But the main thing is that we want that we want to touch the every part. I mean to say, and in the next session we can say the queries, whatever you have taught us, and like we can before your class we can like read the previous. Suppose we have to take the second unit in the next session, so we'll read it in beforehand, and we can take the queries.
Yes, always welcome. You are always welcome, but how many topics? Because because you have the summaries also, but I don't know from which background you people are. Without understanding anything, you may not be able to understand. That is why I'm worried that you
Yeah,
may. What's your
got
background,
your point, ma'am.
Ishuji? What you have done at the previous education? What you have attained?
Um, like I have already in previous I'm MSc in dietetics, ma'am.
So, do you know about the human anatomy and physiology? Something about that?
Yes, yes, ma'am. We have read it.
And Kanchanji, what about you? What about you, please? What
What
about
about
what about Prathaji?
Madam, like I want to ask whether are there any critical questions? Like I'm from medical only, I'm doctor only. Any critical questions? Any reference books?
There is no reference books. This is the material they give you, and they ask you the material which is there. You can, for the further expansions, they have given you the references. Uh, Probably they have given you the references also,
Yes, ma'am.
and you can see that, or you can just Google it and see the other things.
Yes, madam. Any critical questions like any
Uh,
or from the other topics?
yes, there are questions. They can ask you anything, whatever the subjective things are written there.
Acha.
It is, you cannot say this area is important and they may not ask you. Like I just told you, they have just asked you the different type of neurons. If you
Yes,
don't have
madam.
any idea of the neuron, how will you write the different? It means they want to make you study thoroughly the nervous system.
Yes, madam.
And in the second unit, you have that nervous system, and that nervous system. Yes, probably they have the nervous system, and there is a type of neurons very well written there. One
Yes,
topic of the
madam.
nervous system, types of neuron, and they have asked this question: what are the different types of neuron?
Yes, madam.
So they can
Any
ask
topic?
anything from there.
Any topics on which we should focus more?
No, sir, this is not there. When I'm seeing the 2020 question paper,
Yes,
all the
madam.
things are very much. There is you have this material on e-course probably. You people have this material, learning material with you, or
Yes, madam. Yes,
download
madam.
you have at home.
Yes, ma'am, have.
Yes, madam.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So okay, it's fine. So one thing is that I can take everything in short then. Okay.
Yes, madam.
Or we can quick off if you people have some. What you do is you come prepared with you read something in the second unit. Okay. I'll be taking up the unit second and third tomorrow on third. So you people can see, you can read it. We can see like that. Because, or what you can see is, my dear students, there are 13 units. Which units you want me to take? Can you please see these units, and can you tell me only those unit I will be taking up? वो ले लो ना बेटा, वो खोलो.
Ma'am, this one essentials of pharmaceuticals chemistry. and synthetic drugs and pharmaceutical chemistry, unit 7.
Unit 7.
These are 7, 8, and 9, ma'am, which are particularly linked to pharma.
Okay. Okay, then. I will be taking up unit 2 because I basically feel you should know the psychology. I will be taking up unit 2 and unit 3, finishing up system 1 and system 2. And then I'll try to take 7, 8, 9. Okay?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Good for everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then we will be taking this one so that you people get the benefit out of it. Because in this short time I may not be able to, or you people have to be prepared. So I'll be taking up on third unit 2 just to have the various body systems. If you know that, I'll skip off first.
Madam,
Body system. Yes, sir.
madam, please take also 10, 11, 12, 13 so that we know something about them. Something that means 10, 11, 12, 13 also.
No, then it is all, sir.
Something, madam, something that so that we get an idea. That means.
Okay.
Like
Okay,
what?
I'll try to arrange them then.
Yes, madam.
Okay. Okay. So nice. We'll meet at this time only 3 to 5 on third.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
सभी विद्यार्थी जो टाइम है वो नोट कर लेंगे। इसी जो ये कोर्स है फर्स्ट वाला, इसकी जो 3rd, 5th एंड 6th टाइमिंग यही रहेंगे 3 से 5।
ओके सर।
ओनली फर्स्ट जो सब्जेक्ट है उसके लिए टाइमिंग है, बाकी सेम जो टाइम टेबल में है वैसे रहेंगे।